All right, welcome back to another stream for Unreal and technical art in this case. And this is going to be our last stream for the year, that for 2020, as it's nearing the end of December and the next 2 weeks are holidays. I see Sarah has already joined us. Sarah beat the message that introduces the stream. That's like, you were on the ball there. That was impressive. Usually I don't have anybody in the first little while. So welcome. Thanks for joining me. So today I have lots of ideas for, hey, is that Pietro here? Nice. Welcome. Glad to see you made it at this late hour. This is great. We got a couple people already. So what we got to do today is, notifications good, is a couple things I want to try to do. It's kind of a tricky day because I had this ambitious idea. I was going to do these ideas, and then I had to talk to Santa Claus on Zoom. It was so it kind of caught me off guard, blew up my strategy. So the kids were really enjoying it though, but it was actually a bit chaotic. Have you ever tried to do a Zoom call with a whole bunch of like 3-year-olds? It's a bit wild. But anyway, it worked out pretty good, so the kids had fun. I had to make some hot chocolate afterwards, so like I'm doing the classic, it's ridiculously classic scenario over here. Anyway, unfortunately, I mean, I didn't get to very much time to try some of my ideas before I was going to be able to do my run through in the stream. So I have no idea how that's going to go. I was going to do some Christmas lights was my theory. I had this idea I was going to use splines and put Christmas lights on it, and then see if I could get it to at least work in a really placeholder way. Santa is on Zoom now, apparently. He says it worked actually really well. I mean, to be 2020 is a very weird year. I think normally the kids would go, down the road and they have these events every year and Santa Claus is there. But this year they did it on Zoom and it worked. I mean, kids loved it. They were just like totally focused when he got on the screen. So impressive to see that it did work, because usually getting the attention span of a 3-year-old and a 5-year-old is not easy to do. So let's see here. Today, what we're going to try to do, first of all, like I've got two main ideas. I got my new backdrop. I guess we talked about it. We almost got it working last week. I did actually get it going. Let me go back to my cam for a second here. So we got the backdrop working in a loop. We got the snow that came down the window from looking the wrong way, out the window over here. That was something we put together last stream using Niagara after we converted it over to Niagara. So that was a lot of fun. And so today I was gonna put the fox to come out of the window. So he's just gonna pop his head up over there, look out the window. I think that'll be kind of cute, since we've done all the work of getting the fox in there, and that would be a pretty easy animation to do. And so that was the plan. And then the other thing is I was going to, I don't know how I'm going to do this. Somehow put Christmas lights in here. I don't know. I haven't really thought about it that carefully. Maybe stringing down the curtains or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But they will produce light. So that would be like kind of neat. They'll like, you see them glowing, reacting with the background. Assuming that I get it working, of course. And it would also allow us to try out splines. So splines is something I've never actually practiced yet in Unreal. So this is another reason why I should have R&D'd this before I decided to do it. But anyway, we're going to give it a try. And I found a tutorial video that somebody has done it with splines. And they just make a blueprint where they spawn all the lights down the chain. And it works pretty good. It looks okay. I mean, I think if you spent some more time polishing, you'd be able to get a nicer result than what I was seeing. But it's a great excuse to use splines anyways, because you can really utilize, make lots of non-looping objects by using splines. Whether it comes from like vines, but you could also do like piping, ventilation piping and stuff, which is the traditional ways that you use it. So it is kind of a fun thing to try out. But what we're going to try to do, hey, Victor's here, welcome. What we're going to try to do is try to get this animation sorted out in the first hour. So I want to try to move along, I guess, with trying to get that in there. But if you guys have any other thoughts, oh, there was another ambitious thought I was going to do today where I was going to make try the cloud idea. I did manage to get the water system working. Oh yeah, there you go. Sarah's river systems are using splines. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Or at least they're some form of spline manipulation. And using splines inside of Unreal seems actually pretty functional. I know there's a spline for when you do the camera rail for your cinematics as well. So what was I just talking about there? Oh, I was going to try to do clouds, but there's no real reason for me to use clouds in the scene, so I might leave it for the another stream. But that was another idea that I wanted to explore, just to see what that functionality was like. But I really would like to do a run-through, R&D run-through first before I try and do it. But I think we can do the Christmas lights. And that's sort of our VFX, and then we got some animation today. So a little bit of both today, hopefully. Oh, and you know what also really neat is this background has like really nice ambient music or ambient noise because there's like a fireplace over here. So I was thinking, oh, maybe it's the cooking, I don't know, pasta stew thing over here that's making a noise. But I was thinking we should capture the audio when we do our Christmas light render. See if we can get some of that environment audio as well. That'd be kind of fun. So that when you're, you know, it sounds like you're in the right environment instead of me just being in this isolated room. Okay, maybe have some wind howling through the windows. All right, what am I doing here? So let's go to Maya. Oh no, what I gotta do is I gotta get the layout of the land here so I can get the fox to be on the right location. And we kind of did this in other streams, but open, this will go pretty quickly. So export selected on some of the objects we need. We're going to put that into our source folder. We had an interesting conversation, or I don't know if it's conversation. Well, yeah, lots of conversations, but this week has been interesting as we've been trying to set up an SVN server for some students, for like CG Spectrum students. And SVN is your subversion source control management tool, kind of like Perforce, but a little bit more, I don't know, I'd say it's a little more rough around the edges, but it also makes it more user-friendly, which is kind of handy. And we're exploring how to do it so that students can use it, but it's quite a tricky process because it needs to be a special security SSH connection. So we have, usually when you do an SVN hookup, it's actually not too complicated. You create a user, you give them the password, they hook up, and they're good to go. But this one's a lot trickier. You got to get a special key system, and all those problems are discouragements from anyone ever successfully getting to use source control, which, you know, when you're doing a project with multiple people, you pretty much have to use source control. It's a kind of a disaster if you don't. And so it would be really nice if we could, you know, have an excuse if we're going to do a collaborative project with students, or some sort of area where, you know, it makes sense to be working on the same project together. It'd be nice. We have a hosting service now that we can host it on, and if we can make it so that students can easily set their computers up to connect to this server, you can connect through it inside of Unreal, just like we have here, where you can. I'm connected to a Perforce control, which is just on my local machine. But I mean, there's no reason why you can't do that over the network as well. And then that way, every time you, you know, all your files you can check out and all that stuff, which is all very important when you're using source control. So yeah, you would be able to do the same thing with SVN, and everybody could just submit their changes, and the project would just grow, and you could have programmers and artists all working together on the same project, and you just get latest and see what the changes are, which is, it's actually really exciting when you're in a production working environment like that, and you're seeing stuff change as you're working, and like, oh look, they got the thing working, let's try it out. So it is pretty cool. Oh, what am I doing? Yeah, adding the scene here. I think I'm on, I gotta go to this folder, backdrops, source, box, meshes 2. So I'm gonna create a reference for this. so that I can update the file without having to like delete it and re-import it again. So now somewhere in this scene is the other side of this cabin. Oh, geez, I'm doing my wrong navigation here. There it is. So, I should be able to just change my animation. You know, what was interesting was one of the, I don't know, it was a few streams ago now when I was posing this, animating this character out, and I left the stream, and it was like, oh yeah, it was just, I think I really did. I think I made some changes to the rig or something. I don't even remember. And like somehow the references were a little messed up. And at the end of the stream, there was this error that said, "No, your reference is broken." I'm like, "Oh, that's too bad. My reference is broken." Anyway, I finished up the stream. Didn't really think about it. And then I came back afterwards, and man, that was the worst problem ever. I was like totally euchred. Like I had to like, I don't even. It's on the top of my head. I can't remember what I did wrong. I think I renamed a file, or oh no, it was the namespaces. I deleted the namespaces, and it didn't match up to the reference anymore, and it was just like I couldn't fix it. I had to literally go back to a previous version, and I lost a lot of all this posing work that I'd done and everything. So I don't know if that helps anybody. It was a disaster though, to say the least. All right, let's go to animation. So I'm going to be very careful about, you know, modifying my namespaces in the future. I'll definitely be like very cautious before I do that stuff. Make sure I save. That's the critical aspect. Save first. All right. That was kind of interesting. I just noticed that the light, there's an actual light object that it got imported with that light. That is cool. I wonder if, I'm pretty sure that's how that worked. So hopefully I can actually end up doing a fairly decent animation here. It's gonna be like, you know, if I'm trying to compete with the meerkat that we were looking at last week, you're gonna be sorely disappointed because yeah, that was pretty impressive stuff. So I don't know. It's a good benchmark to try to reach for, but I don't know if I'm gonna be anywhere near that by the time I finish my stream here. Oh, moving this table, by the way, is completely useless because it's not actually affecting Unreal. So I don't know why I'm doing that exactly. Doesn't matter, you can't see out there anyway. All you gotta do is make sure that that window, when you look through it, it's gonna have a little box looking in there. And I'm gonna get the pose that is the key pose figured out first, like the lookout pose. And then I will worry about the rest of it. Man, I almost wish I had not brought that table up so high here. Alright, let's see if I can get this angle from our shot roughly the same. There's a curtain in the way too, so a bit trickier. If I get him close to the this piece there, you'll definitely see him then. Alright. And what was really neat about last week was we were really comparing the Meerkat's rig and trying out one that was you know, another quadruped type of rig. Like this character could do very almost probably the same rig as the Meerkat, which, you know, I think there was a thought that I was just going to bring the mesh into Unreal and just swap it out and reposition the Meerkat's rig for it so I could animate it on Unreal. But because my experience for animating on Unreal was such a poor one, I have definitely decided not to do that on a stream, because it would take me substantially longer to get everything to look good. And well, it's possible that, you know, with enough practice I can get it to look good using the same tools, but don't want to try to rough it out on a stream because it's really boring to watch as I struggle and make dumb mistakes that isn't teaching anyone. Well, I guess it's teaching people how not to do things, but you kind of want to make sure that you're showing useful tricks, not useless tricks. All right, so I'm gonna do, I just saved the 10 pose here. I'm gonna go back to 0. And And we're going to see if we can get this character to come back to its default pose, or whatever I was trying to do the last week there, the other week. I gotta remember how this works again. We have two types of controls. We have a move COG control here. Oh, COG is not. Oh, it is. Okay. And then there's the red square, which is like a more independent, like sort of like your hips controller. These are our IK feet, which is probably what I want to use. There's probably going to be some skinning issues, but like I said before, skinning issues can be fixed later. They don't have to be repaired before you animate. In fact, a lot of issues can be repaired before you animate, except for if you change the orientations or the positions of the main controllers, like these foot controllers. If I change the orientation of it, I would be pretty stuck trying to get that to work with existing animations. But you can do a lot of other changes. You can do mesh changes and texturing changes. Sarah says, I have a rigging question. Surprise, surprise. Should I forget about IK rigging until I get better FK rigging? Oh, better at FK rigging. Or is there an easier way? Is this for the kangaroo? Because if that's the case, you definitely need IK rigging for the feet. In fact, I would say don't worry about the FK rigging for the feet. Just do only IK. Because there's not many chances that you're going to find out, or you're going to find the character, like, you know, standing on their hands or flying through the air or something. And it's not any more difficult to do IK rigging than it is to do FK. The real complicated part is trying to do the IK FK switch, where you have to have 3 different skeletons, and they all just, and they're constrained to each other, and so you can blend one off and blend one on. That's when it gets tricky. You can kind of see his ears. Maybe I'll do a little bit more. All right, let me see here. What do we got for a character? We have a blue controller in here. Green controller. What is that? Is that a blue controller? It's an arm thing. FK, IK spline switcher. Oh, or am I just supposed to rotate COG? Oh yeah, that's what it is. Alright, so you can see I've really got some distortion here too, so that's going to be tricky. So I don't know if I want to rotate this. I think it's like the red one. Or maybe it's a whole bunch of stuff. So I'm going to zero that out. Zero these out. Oh man, what am I doing here? Why is it still way up here? Sarah says, okay, yes, for the kangaroo, I guess, but I need to know for all my other animals as well. Okay, so for the cockatoo, I would say totally just go with the FK. It's way easier, unless the cockatoo is walking around all over the place. But for flight animations, you're pretty good just doing FK only, because they're always going to be not touching anything, is basically where I'm going with that one. Oh my goodness, what have I done here? Oh, and then the last comment is, okay, so do I do the skinning weights and binding the same? Yes. So I had to think about that one for a while. Yeah, if your skeleton isn't changing, then it's going to be the same skinning. The skinning is just your skeleton to your mesh. There we go. What's this? There it is. It's your skeleton to your mesh. So you don't have to worry about redoing your skinning if your skeleton hasn't changed. But maybe it has. Shalom. Shalom? You don't have a picker? Oh. Oh my goodness. You're totally right. Great call on that one. Let's try this out. I forgot all about the and skeleton picker here. Let's see what kind of stuff we can do here. We got the red controller. Oops, that's the hands. Head one. I don't know, I'm still not picking this one very well. Is that part of the head controls then? I don't think so. Sarah says, okay, cool. Thanks, Simon. And then Shalom says, is that a canine or a fox? It's a fox. It's funny when you say canine. I was at first thinking, is that like a cyborg? What is a canine? But I know what you mean. It's a dog. It's a fox. It's actually a textured fox. I got it from a free asset on Unreal. I unfortunately, because it doesn't come with a rig, it just comes with a skeleton. I re-rigged it with Advanced Skeleton, which wasn't too hard. I did it one of the other streams, and so now it's kind of a quickly put together box that I can put a texture on in Unreal. It's a foxy fox. Police dog, yeah, exactly. Could have been a police dog, but it would have been way creepier if I have a police dog show up in my window. That totally changes the story. It's like, well, no, I'm being raided. So much for my Christmas theme. I'm really trying to get this character to go back to 0. It would be nice if I could just get like all and then, you know, 0 it out. Oh, maybe there is an option for that. I should check. Keep forgetting that these tools are here. Reset. Pose. Ah, there we go. Look at that. Beautiful. That was an excellent suggestion, by the way. Very, very helpful right now. Obviously, I don't animate a lot with Advanced Skeleton. Well, actually, I don't really animate that much at all lately. So, well, I guess I do in my Q&As. All right, now we're in good shape here. Oh, except for I did that on frame. Oh no, it's okay. I did it on frame 0. It's nice to have that all cleaned up again. That's actually really important. What Sarah says, what do I do? What do I do all day? Yeah, I don't know. I forget. What do I do all day? Well, this week I was doing SVN setup. That was my big technical. Actually, I've got Dave helping me. I haven't seen Dave show up yet, but he is. He's been helping me, and he's actually doing a fantastic job so far. It's nice to have somebody to work with when you're trying to solve problems. That's for sure. Makes a big difference. Let's see if I can get. What am I missing here? Where is those elbow controls? Oh yeah, they're in here. Ah, oh, see, I'm forgetting to use my tools again already. Forearm. Oh no, it's FK something. Oh, maybe it's all different with the quadruped. Hey, there's Dave. Big Labagoo. He is here. Nice to see ya. Nice to have you here again. Do I miss animating on games? Well, I do actually a little bit. I do enjoy the fun of creating results. So hopefully in the new year, I'll be able to work with some students and we can do a game jam project or something, and I'll be there to help out. But I don't really want to steal the animation work from people. It's more like probably the rigging and stuff that I'm going to be helping. But we have a lot to figure out before we start figuring that out. We have lots of ideas and lots of theories about how we're going to try and set this up, but we haven't really found a good one that seems super obvious yet. Sarah says, I meant, what did you do to get the cops to raid you with the canine dog that showed up my window? Yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, there's all. What kind of ideas could you come up going down that direction? Never mind the Christmas lights. Let's do sprinkling cocaine. Sterling, hello. Can you explain NURBS a bit? Oh, NURBS. Wow, that's an interesting question. Sure. Sarah says, can I hire you when I get an epic grant? Yeah, for sure. Actually, don't worry about hiring me. Hire some students. That'd be awesome. But yeah, I can definitely help out, like I always do. I'm happy to help. So let me talk about what is my goal today with the stream. Okay, so my goal is to get this fox to show up in my window back here, and pop his head up and say, it'll just be a really subtle pop his head up and then go and hide. It's kind of like what I did for the Halloween thing where we had zombies crawling around and stuff. I just wanted to do that quickly in the first hour. We're already 30 minutes in it. And then the second half, I was going to do a spline in Unreal with Christmas lights. And I've got a video that can help me through it. It's a little bit of blueprints. And I'm just going to do spheres that are like glowing with hues. And we're going to sprinkle. I still got my other thought there. Hang the Christmas lights around the window or something. And then do a render. Get it in there. I mean, I don't know. We'll see how much we can get done. But that's sort of the idea. Sarah says it's not actually snow in the background. Good one. That's a much better joke than mine. Yeah, Sarah, if I need a senior, you're hired. Oh, there you go. But I also need to hire students. Yeah, the problem is my schedule is busy every day. All right, I don't want to forget this this question about NURBS. So NURBS is a modeling technique that has existed since the 90s. And in fact, it was more popular in the 90s because it was very good at creating geometry that was infinitely high resolution. Well, not infinitely, but very, very high resolution. But meanwhile, you could work with it on very, very low resolution because instead of doing polygons where you have like squares of geometry, you have curves, spline curves that are basically creating like a rib cage of a spline curves, and then there's lofting between the rib cage, and it's how they would be able to model like fancy dragons and all these amazing things. Like I think all of Toy Story is all done with NURBS, and it is really a successful tool set to model with, and it gives you this really nice crisp resolution. But it's also extremely hard to model with. And I remember when I was in college in 2002, they were trying to teach us how to do NURBS modeling, and man, it was so painful. Poly modeling was by far the easiest. And so as the computers got faster, poly modeling became a lot easier to do. And so everybody switched over to poly modeling. NURBS has never been supported. NURBS modeling has never been supported in game engines. It's always been poly modeling. So it's kind of just gone to the wayside, and they don't even call it NURBS very much anymore. And it's like curves and surfaces, which is basically curves are your the NURBS curves, and then you loft those curves using surfaces. All the tools are still there. You can still do the same techniques, but we just don't model with it anymore. However, we still use the curves to do our rigging. So these are still NURBS curves that are set up to build the structure of our controls, and that makes it easy so we can just go show, turn off NURBS curves, and then we don't have any. So that's kind of handy. And when we're talking about splines in Unreal, that's kind of the same idea. It's using these dynamic curved properties. I think that's everything for NURBS. Yep, and I didn't missed any questions, so there you go. Oh, maybe another one. Sterling. Thank you. I encountered them in Maya years ago and wondered why they often got the cold shoulder at my computer art and animation class. Yeah, because it's painful memories. I don't know. There were some really good masters of NURBS modeling. I remember there was some videos out there that were like explaining how it was like hours and hours of tutorial how to do like this fancy NURBS modeling. But yeah, that skill set is gone with the dodo, as they say. All right, no problem. And Sarah says, I've used NURBS curves for modeling tree trunks. Wow, okay. Yeah, guess that could work. But yeah, the problem is if you have to export that to a game engine, you have to convert it into NURBS, or convert it into polygons, which you can. You can build these things. And I think one of the options here is to turn them to polygons. It might be there. I'm looking at curves. Surfaces rebuild. There we go. Polygons. So you can convert any nerves to polygons if you ever want to. It doesn't have awesome edge flow, but it you know, it is possible to convert it. It's handy when you want certain shapes. Yeah, there is actually a really useful way to use it. Is if you grab your curves and you build like a you know, a fancy. If you want to make a vase, you can make it with a single outline curve, and then you go to surfaces and you can revolve, and it builds the whole shape as if you're like, it just builds it all the way around, and then you can convert that to a polygon, and you have a pretty good shape. And if you do, you know, if you keep it dynamic, you can just keep tweaking the one silhouette curve, and it keeps changing your vase shape dynamically. So sometimes it has its benefits. John. Hey Simon, I'm Brooke, and looking to learn 3D modeling. What software I should use? And do you have any cheap course where I can have someone teach me? Yeah, if you're broke, then your best bet is to use Blender, is my first thought, because Maya does cost money, and if you can't prove that you are enrolled in a school, then you actually have to pay for it, or you find other ways to get it, which I won't mention. And so it used to be a lot easier to use. Anybody could download a trial version, but now, as of just like in the last year, they've made it so that you have to prove that you're enrolled, which I think is heading in the wrong direction, honestly. If they really want to compete with Blender, they got to make sure that the students can learn it. Otherwise, you're just going to lose your base. But whatever. I don't even know if Autodesk really cares whether Maya survives or not. Which is another reason to learn Blender, potentially. Now, the only reason why we teach Maya is because every studio still uses it. So you just can't avoid it. If you want to learn the software that they're going to be using in the studio, you got to learn Maya. That's probably why they're counting on that. But Blender is definitely a very good software nowadays, and you can do a lot with it. I don't really know it very well, but that's just because I already know Maya. And do we teach any cheap courses? We don't have anything really for cheap courses. We are planning on doing some kind of like, we have trial classes every 3 months for the course. You can take a free month, a couple Q&As with a mentor, and we have, you know, some really basic things that were in the works that we will offer as ways for people to get a trial run of what the content is, to see if that's the direction they were interested in enrolling in. But then if you want the serious teaching, you're really just paying for the mentor time, because the mentor is very experienced and they know what they're talking about, and it costs money to borrow their time to answer your questions. So everything else, all of our overhead is very, very lean, but the money does have to be spent to borrow the time of a professional artist. Sterling says, yeah, we did lamps. Oh, okay. And then converted it. This is talking about nerds doing the loft, the revolved loft. Very good. And reasonably priced subscription would be great from Maya. Yeah, totally. It's ridiculously expensive. Like, it's just unrealistically expensive for just any artist that isn't in a studio. And Sarah says, and now they only give you 1 year, and it used to be 3. Yeah, just like last year it was 3 years, and now it's only 1 year. I even had my 2018 version get disappear off my computer because it was past its due date for the trial, for the student version. So they are, it seems like they're actually holding to that, and they never used to care. I mean, every year up until just a couple of years, like last year, you could just have it for as long as you wanted to, really. Sterling says, trying to go from Maya to Blender is an exercise in pain. This is probably a big part of why I haven't learned Blender. I do hear that a lot, by the way. It's hard to transition to Blender. But there's people that use Blender and they're like, oh, I really like it. It's got great rendering and it's got great tools. But I think the animation's a little harder. Maya definitely has a niche in its comfort for animating. Sarah says it uninstalled itself. Yeah, it just became invalid. Like if I tried to open it, it was like, nope, sorry, you need to pay for this, or you need a proper serial code. So I ended up uninstalling it. But it did, like, even the icon sort of disappeared. It was like a failed icon. I'm not sure what that meant. I'm like, oh, my 2018 looks wrong. And I tried to open it, it's like, oh, I can't do it. And if I go into my account in Autodesk, it disappeared. It's no longer there. So either I somehow accidentally deleted it, which is unlikely, or they actually removed it. All right, so we got, see, just 2 poses and we already got something going on here. We can just, a little head pop up. Oh, I gotta think of what I'm gonna do here. I think I better do the timing first. Make sure this pacing feels good, and then I'll start worrying about the poses. So we'll do maybe 100. 100 frames is really long. It's probably gonna be only like 50. Oh, we got some spam. Sarah says, I did a factory reset on my MacBook recently. I installed Maya 2020 and it won't open. Oh, I had another student that said that the Maya 2020 isn't opening or didn't update. There was an update 2020.4 just came out, and that didn't work. Sorry, it didn't install, and it totally messed up. But I just installed it on my computer, and it didn't have any problems, so I don't know what that was all about. Ugh, I wish I could quickly figure out... There we go. How to ban that spam. How to ban the spam. I might uninstall it and try 2019. Yeah. I wish I had some good answers. I know my Autodesk does get kind of tricky to get that to work. All right, I'm going to use my button to select all the control rig. This interface stuff is really useful once you get the hang of it. I definitely appreciate that element. Except for here, I am trying to... Oh, I'm writing S's over here. I always do this. There we go. Got our key in there. So let's see here. The pacing goes up, looks, and then we might keep it up there for a while. Do a couple bit of a look and look and look, and then go back down again. I might just do like a placeholder of this, even though I really like polishing, and I think it's really important that you polish to a, you know, it's, oh, I always talk about how like you gotta polish at 10%. Gotta get that whole thing finished. But because I'm such a time limit, and it gets kind of boring watching me polish things to a T, I might just put an actual time limit on myself so that, you know, I'll go for a while, and then once it's kind of got to a point where I've run out of time, I'm just gonna send it over to Unreal, and we'll finish it later. It would be nice if I could finish it properly. It's really fun doing really good animations, and like just really spending that extra time. But it's also a good idea to do a nice placeholder pass of it too, because you never know where your problems are. Like, it's possible me exporting this might be a disaster, so I need to check that out first before I spend too much time animating it. Alright, I think I'm gonna do, it's like the character is gonna look up. They have to, yeah, I think staring for a while is good. And then we'll do a little quick head turn, different direction. Yeah, seems all right. Maybe we'll do another one just at the end here. Let me put that key in yet. Okay, so we got 34. Do a little bit of a head turn here. And there's all these like ideas where you got to keep the body alive. You know, when the body's too stiff and static, it really breaks the illusion. we saw last week on the Meerkat animation from Unreal that they had like the whole timeline had like breathing animation and like little heartbeat things going on, all the subtlety happening through blend shapes. So it just goes to show all that polish needs to go in there eventually. But at first, we're just trying to figure out where we want to head. And if you do what am I trying to say? If you're trying to do breathing animation, you can use the animation layers to just layer it on. At the moment, I'm not entirely sure what breathing controls are, so I don't know if I don't really want to just try any control. I want to make sure I kind of understand what the rig is like before I start animating breathing on it. Sometimes they have specific controls for breathing, but in this case, I have a feeling it's going to be more like I'm going to be like rotating the chest and moving it in a very, very subtle way so that it looks proper. I feel like there's something that can happen here. And I'm trying to imagine what my cat would do, which I don't know if that's the greatest plan, but like I feel like foxes are more closer to cats than dogs, but I mean, I don't know, they probably got a lot of mannerisms with dogs too. But anyway, the idea was before the fox goes down, you'll like look either where he's going or out into the space to see if he's getting caught doing something. Not sure. I'm translating it, but I don't know if that's the right idea, like especially since there's another controller in there. This is the IK spline, and then this is the IK hybrid spline neck, so never really understood this very well. That kind of moves them together. I must move the FK with it, I'm assuming. And like, its orientation is just not very good. But when you're doing these animations, it's so good to like, it's so much fun to like try to think of what they're thinking. And it really does make a big difference when you're getting that realism in there. It's like, what is the fox thinking right now, and where are they gonna be focused? So I was gonna do like a little hesitation and then do a quick drop down. We'll grab all our controllers. And try and copy that. And then maybe when they go down, we're gonna see if we can get a better pose in this. It would be nice. Where we have possibly... Oh, let's see if we can get the COG thing working here for me. Boom, COG. Yeah, that's better. Oh, that's not the COG at all. Swinger hip. Is this a COG? Oh yeah, there it is. We go up, and then we're going to take the back. Nothing. What is that doing down there? That's not very good. Spine. Nothing. This is like the clavicle controls. The neck. Nothing. Man, I'm having trouble here. Oh, it's all FK or IK. All right, cool. So this goes down. This goes, well, that goes in the middle. Can I translate it? Let's see here. What else we got? FK, FK. Let's try to grab that hybrid. Ugh. Is it this one? It's not the hybrid. I bet you this is the FK. Yeah, that's the FK head. I don't know. Is it possible that there's like another one that you can just switch to, like, for quadrupeds? I don't know. I don't see it. Alright, so we're going to be looking down. Let's just zero ourselves out for a second here. Make sure we're not too far away from its default pose. What does that look like? I don't know. That looks kind of cheesy. Oh man, I'm not done yet, that's for sure. Oh, I think I need a up pose too, before I get too involved with my polish here. Alright, so what was this again? This one? No, this one. Let's see here. What would that be best jump up? Oh, the feet, the back feet are moving. Now, if you can't see some of this rig in your shot, you're not supposed to worry about it. But I actually do tend to like to animate that stuff, at least pose it out roughly, because it really helps sort of understand what the limitations or the problems that might happen when you're moving, and when you start putting that together, it really gives you ideas about secondary motion. Like if you're making a footstep and you've got to shift your body weight from one step to the other, that can actually really give you some life put onto the body, and that lets you, even though you can't see the feet, you're still got some sort of ideas of where you want to go with it. All right, I definitely think the paws have to be up more. I almost think that maybe these hind feet could be up here. Maybe one of them. And then as we go up, we're going to be back a little bit. We'll get the spine to end down. Oh man, I gotta go a long ways. Oh, you know what? It's my master control that's moving. Okay, I don't want master. It's good. It's bad practice to see the master control move, anyways. So I don't even remember doing that, but it's possible that I accidentally put that in there. Because you really want to leave that stationary and just move the actual body instead of moving the master control, because now I won't be able to animate the feet to stay still. Because they will, whoops, I don't want to do that. Like if I want to actually pose the feet and my master control is moving, that's going to also move the IK, so the foot will never get stuck. It'll always be shifting. So if you keep your master control, the big circle, still, oh goodness, I'm not even on the right track here. Then should just be able to grab this middle mouse click drag over here, except for when I do that. And grab it to the end as well. Maybe grab it for 4. Oh, that totally didn't work. Come on. There we go. That time it worked. Let's see here. So we got, this is better. And then I don't have to go so far forward. The feet are still moving. Maybe I'll keep this foot still now. I'll take that pose, copy paste it to the beginning. And I'll keep this foot pose still. But I'll steal this one instead. What does that look like? A bit weird. Go with that. I'll just copy it over. It's a good idea to keep all your keys aligned so that you don't have any unpredictable shifting happening. But I'm also trying to make sure I don't put too many keys down, because that makes my life really complicated. Then I have like tons of stuff to manage. Alright, let's see here. Definitely got to get these paws in. Now when you really get in deep into character animating, it's I think, from what I've experienced and what I can kind of tell, is that it's extremely tedious. Like, there's a lot of careful reference watching. There's a lot of patience of like detail, and it's one of those animations where like you think you're done, but no, you've actually got tons more to work on to get it to look really, really sharp. And I think you really have to give yourself lots of time. A name I can't read. Hi, Maya file icons with our white arrow. Fix it. Maya file icons are white. How to fix it? I don't know which icons you're referring to. If it's these guys, that means they're not linked to the script that it's calling. So if that's the case, then you have to probably save file. Wow, man, I'm not getting a lot of information here. Maya file icons for save file, like this or something. I don't know. Oh, here's a save icon. If that's white, then you are missing the path to your icons folder in your Maya. I'm not sure if I'm answering the correct question here, though. Oh, this actually is a great idea, though. Thank you for letting me know I'm supposed to save my file. Oh my goodness. I have been animating for a long time without saving. This is averted a disaster here. Although it is auto-saving, because I keep getting interrupted by having to click OK 3 times for every time a reference file I have. We're going to put this one in here. Mark it for add. This is my Perforce source control. I'm putting my source files into it under a folder called source. These are FBX files that I imported into Unreal. I don't need to put those into source control because they're just replaced anyway. Fox rig. No, window look, that's what I want. So I'm going to check this out. And that way I can now save my file. And when I submit that, which I want to do right now because I've made tons of changes, I just go to my default change list. This is not SVN source control, if you guys were around. Remember what I was talking about earlier? This is Perforce. Perforce is used by a lot of companies like Epic and, you know, big companies. In fact, every studio I've ever worked for uses Perforce. But it's a little complicated to teach people, so I'm not really too enthusiastic about putting this on the plate of students to learn as they're trying to use source control, although I do try to teach it in our course so that at least you get familiar with the workflow a little bit. SVN's a lot easier. There's actually a file extension inside of your Windows that you can use. And you have to write a little description before you submit your stuff, because that way people can see your history and figure out what it is. If I go to my history of this file, I can see all the different submissions I've done. And if you ever wanted to, you could go back to a previous version and get that revision. And it would still preserve the one I have submitted. Which is why source control is pretty handy, because it's keeping track of all this stuff behind the scenes. And what's really handy is if you have like an entire build of files. Oh, JD Smith, are you rigging? I have done rigging in previous streams. Today I'm not rigging, I'm just animating the rig that I made from the other stream. Yeah, I don't know. And is there anything else I can say about that? Last week we talked about the rig in Unreal, taking a look at the Meerkat rig, trying to do a little bit of animation with it, but it went extremely unsuccessfully because I'm very much unsure how to use it, and I think it's just very beta still. Here's a swivel. Alright, I'm not sure how this is going to look here. Oh, since I was talking about source control, I should do some asymmetry here though. I got too many thoughts. This is what happens to me sometimes. Oh, you know what? I think this arm will stay down. That looks pretty broken, doesn't it? And this arm has to hit this counter first, so I'm going to make sure that that one is up there closer. See all that skinning issue that's happening right now? That I'm not too worried about because that can get fixed in post. Like, not in post, but in can get fixed later as I update the rig. As long as my joints are kind of pointing in the right direction though, that is important. Right now this elbow controller is totally in the wrong place. And to be quite honest, I'm surprised the other elbow didn't have the same problem. This hand is too close to the body. Switch this to world. Yeah, I'm never going to be able to get that arm up there. Oh, there's also the clavicle up here, which I could maybe use that to help. I don't know. It's going to look too weird. Anyway, we'll just quickly it'll transition anyway. Yeah, that looks kind of dumb, doesn't it? Maybe I'll keep that closer to the ground. Oh, yeah, right. Anyway, there's a bit of twinning going on there. Here, I'll show you what I was talking about though, with SVN. So, we have over here, this is the SVN server folder. SVN uses a program called SVN Tortoise, and SVN Tortoise has a whole bunch of options that just integrate into your File Explorer when you right-click on files. So here's our options. We have SVN update, commit. We can take a look at the repo browser, revert files. There's probably some way to get revisions. I'm not that familiar with SVN Tortoise, but I have used it a fair bit. And it's the same process. So that's basically how you replace what the Perforce interface that I was using a minute ago does. And this is actually hooked up to our school SVN server right now, but there's nothing on there. So and I won't even get into the details of why that was so complicated to set up because it's really boring for everybody. But with Big Labagoo's help, we're gonna maybe see if we can make a batch file that will simplify the process and get some students on there. All right, so we've got jump up. Let's see what it looks like from over here. So you can really see when you haven't got the subtlety that happens when you've got these movements. Like right now, I've got the base keys, the pose is in there. The timing I think is actually pretty good. And the only thing we're missing right now is tons of subtleties, tons of like overlap, a little bit of overflow of overlap of what am I trying to say there, where you've got like the character when they turn their head, you know, the head will probably start, it'll drive, and it will stop, but it'll do a little bit of a swing. The body will do a little bit of a pull. Like even when you start, the body's going to get a bit of a pull. And there's all these like little tiny things that happen that justify that movement, and it takes forever. Even though this character is very light, it's there's all this little bit of subtlety that needs to be put in there. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop and put that into Unreal first before we go too far, in case there's some really glaring issues that I have forgotten about. And plus we can talk about how to export it. And since I'm at the hour mark, I need to do that anyways. Okay, so we're going to take the skeleton. So I built this with Advanced Skeleton, and we have carefully built it so that it has a skeleton rig. It's one of the options in Advanced Skeleton. And this is the export skeleton that we're going to use to bring it into Unreal. And you can see it's now called Fox, as opposed to whatever it was called before. So I've been hopefully got this all working now so that the namespace is not messed up anymore. Because the namespace is actually going to be included in the export that goes into Unreal. So if this is different, then it won't recognize the skeleton. And anyway, so I'm just going to grab the root joint, and we're going to export selection. And I'm going to use see if it's easier to go this way. Backdrops, source. Let me pop that in there. Source Fox. I'm going to put it in here, and we're going to call it Anim. There it is. Anim. Lookout window. I'm not sure if that's in Perforce. Oh, here's a question. Hold on a sec. No, it's not in Perforce. Good. How easy does Advanced Skeleton integrate blend shapes when rigging? Good question. I haven't actually done the blend shape portion of Advanced Skeleton before, so I don't know how easy it is, but I'm not too worried because blend shapes basically are pretty easy to build on your own in Maya. And when you export it to a game engine, you're literally just taking the raw connections of blend space, blend shapes that are connected to your main mesh, and exporting that out so it gets connected with the mesh. So in a raw form, you can build a lot of these controls in Maya, but in a proper facial rig that you would want to use in Advanced Skeleton, I'm not sure the struggles there. It's possible that it is not game compatible. I mean, that would be my first fear, is that you would go through all the trouble of setting it up and then you find out it doesn't actually export into Unreal anymore because the controls are not being driven in a way that can be read in Unreal. Like, basically there needs to be custom curves that get brought over. So there's a lot of questions there. And I don't even know the answer to it. So I don't know how I'm not sure what you would do to add extra custom curves to a rig that would be involved. So that would be a good question. Unless, of course, you're animating in Unreal, and then you don't even care. You would just have to put the blend shapes in, and you're doing all the facial rigging inside of Unreal. But that's not a thing yet. That's just a hypothetical future thing. All right, so what I want to do is export animation and make sure I bake animation. I'm doing 100 frames, I guess, which is fine. And that should be enough. I think down here you'll see there's an option for blend shapes, but I don't know if I've already passed it. Shape attributes? Yeah, there it is, blend shapes. But I don't even have it turned on. Usually when I do facial rigging in game engines, I don't use blend shapes, or at least traditionally I haven't used blend shapes. So that's why I'm totally unfamiliar how to do that workflow. I know how to import blend shapes in and you can tweak them inside the engine, but I don't have it so that it's a whole part of a facial animation setup that you import. And when you do facial rigs with joints, you're just kind of like just exporting the joints like you do the rest of the skeleton, and they just come in. So it's a lot easier that way, but you don't get the control you get with blend shapes. All right, we're back to Unreal. See if I can find my animation here. Oh, here it is. So if it knows where the path is, I should be able to just hit re-import. Yeah, that didn't look very promising. Maybe though. Oh yeah, it's still kind of there. Oh yeah, there you go. Oh, his face is all messed up. Oh no, wait. Yeah, his face is all messed up. Okay, so something is a little bit broken here. That means my skeletal mesh needs to be re-exported. Alright, welcome to my world of troubleshooting. We need to go to... I think we're going to go to the rig file. And we're going to try and export a skeletal mesh. See if we can get that update. It's possible that I haven't done this since I've done the changes. It's also possible that there's some other issue going on. I just have to re-import with the T-pose, or the I forget what it's called. Reference pose included. Alright, so doing an advanced or skeletal mesh, you just grab the game rig and then you grab the meshes. You also have to wait. The problem with this mesh is there's actually 3 meshes on top of each other to give the illusion of fur. So I'm not really confident that I'm going to be able to make this look nice and cozy furry. But I don't know, worst case scenario, I just get rid of 2 of the meshes and then apply texture to it instead. But it would be nice if we can get that 3-layer effect. Definitely isn't going to be as good as what the meerkat was looking like with that fur groom, which was honestly really awesome. I mean, truly impressed by how well fur is looking in Unreal right now. I mean, obviously, it's the guys from Weta are awesome at this stuff, so they're not like... They're probably pulling all the strings in order to make that look as good as possible, but at the same time, it seems really promising. Like, you can just do a fantastic grooms now in Unreal, which is like, wow, I didn't know that was going to happen so quickly. Alright, so this is the skeleton and the mesh. I'm going to go export selection and put that into... oh, see, I lost my thing because I didn't save the folder yet. Oh boy, back here again. Backdrop, source, Fox. So I'm going to use the skeletal mesh Fox export. I don't need to bake animation this time. And I don't need to click any of these check. Oh, smoothing groups. I think I have to turn that on. And then export. So we go back to Unreal. We got a hi from Almost There. Hi, welcome. All right, here is our original Fox mesh in the skeletal mesh section. We have a re-import base mesh. Successful. 2 files need to be checked out. Didn't look any different. Oh, we got Almost There has followed us. Thank you, says CG Spectra. Appreciate that. One of the things that you can do to troubleshoot some of these problems is in the import settings is, where is it? Use TO as ref pose. That can sometimes fix issues, so I might try that in a sec. Well, let's try this out first. Oh yeah, there we go. Worked. Now we have, so all the skinny updates and the skeleton position changes and stuff have all been updated to our skeletal mesh, and it matches our animation file, so we're able to get a fairly clean output now. Alright, we're good to go. We're almost making progress here. I'm gonna put I guess I just go to my cinematic now. So was it shot 4 wide? Oh yeah, so I made wide shots. I forgot I did this. That was my strategy. I was gonna try to get my lighting to be like basically my lights are set up in a way that's supposed to simulate the lights of the backdrop. So I've got it so that, oh, over here. So I got like window light coming in, and I got some rosy fire over here. But so I had this thought I was gonna make a really wide angle shot so that I could capture that light, because that's what it's basically just oh goodness, I forget what the name of the company is. Philips Hue Lights, and they can just capture your screen and pull light colors from different parts of it, and then they display what the colors are based on that. You're supposed to shine it on the walls, but I'm doing it actually on my face. Anyway, I was trying to make a wide angle shot so that you would capture, like, instead of capturing the color of the window, which doesn't usually shine on your face, it would capture like the area of the roof and the area of the walls, and that would be the color shining on you. But it didn't work very well, so I ended up just hardwiring colors, which I actually don't really like the red. It looks a little bit too reddy. Should be more of like, I think, an orangey thing or something, but whatever, it doesn't matter. I was just having fun. But I do like how the window light looks like it's coming down on me a bit more. I may actually be buying a new camera over the break, so that I get a higher, it's going to be a 4K camera instead of a 2K or a 2K one, and that way I can get my resolution of my face to match the background a little more. It's kind of a picky thing, but when I do my stream and I go full screen, it actually does look a little bit blurry, and I don't quite get the crisp edges around the green screen. And so I'm hoping the 4K will give me a nice clean image. Big Labagoo, a game Chariot, integrated Philips Hue lights. Oh, there you go. So that they changed color depending on the environment you were in at the time. Okay, well, I mean, that's technically what Philips Hue lights does anyways, but, or at least this particular type, this is the one that you plug into your computer as opposed to just being in a light bulb. But if they've done it and the developer has carefully decided how to display the lights based on the environment, I think you would get way better results than the current system, which is just basically using what's on your screen to display it, which doesn't work all the time. I mean, especially in this case where the window is behind me, not in front of me, so why am I getting window light on my face? So if you were somehow able to get that to work where it was like, it would recognize the lighting in the world, I would be like, yeah, how do you do that? Obviously, it's not going to be something I can just grab. So the game's called Chariot, eh? I'll have to look into that. Alright, so here's our scene for the backdrop. Big Labagoo says, I'm not sure how they did it, but depending on the number of lights you connected to the game, they could be all different colors. Right. Yeah, I mean, if you're grabbing the data from the lights rather than the data from the textures on the walls, you would be able to get a much more accurate information, which would be much more cool. But yeah, you definitely need like some sort of hard-coded connection there, because you can't just like ask games to give you the data of the light position. That would be weird. I'm going to bring the fox into this level. So this is my sequencer file that has no animation, but it just sits there and loops with the snow falling in the background. And then I'm just going to drag this out because I want to go find my fox animation, and I'm going to put it into the file if I can remember how I did this here. Not log cabin. It's the fox. Animal variety pack, fox, animations. This is not it. It's my own animations. What did I do with it? Oh, there he is, fox. I don't want to bring the, well, I want to bring the skeletal mesh in, so I'm going to drag that one in here. And then it will add it to the list. And whenever you drag something in from the content browser, instead of dragging it into your scene, sorry, whenever you bring it from the content browser into sequencer, instead of bringing it content browser to your scene, it puts a little lightning bolt on it, which means it only shows up when the scene is visible. So you can see when I drag off, it actually makes the fox disappear. It's still there, but the idea is that it spawns the fox whenever you're watching the scene, which is kind of handy. All right, so oh, here we go. Almost There says, Big Labagoo, hey dude, are you any good with social media things? I have a question. Wow, Dave, you got picked out, man. How's your social media skills? All right, so let's see here. Armchair. This is the fox. We want to put it in. Oh, we're going to put an animation in for our fox. So I'm going to grab the only look at window thing here. And I guess, I don't know. Oh, there he is. He just popped up. Hey. This is a really long shot, so maybe I'll just put him over here as well. Oops, that's a key. That's not what I wanted to do. Oh no, that is what I wanted to do actually. There we go. Another one. He's gonna be looking in this window a lot. He's really hungry. Like, can I have food now? Alright, let's see what that looks like. Wow, he's really fast. He just... It's actually kind of long. I mean, not long. But I almost feel like the timeline should be a lot longer so that he just sits there, staring, and then goes quickly. I think that would make more sense. Which is easy to fix, and not a big deal. Textures. Let's see if I can put some textures on this guy. See what happens there. We're gonna go to the skeletal mesh, and the textures should be over here in the actual Fox import from the animal variety pack that you can get free from Unreal. Sarah says, what did the Queen say to Charles when he was going to Tasmania? Wear the fox hat. I don't get it. I mean, I really don't get it. Wear the fox hat? Oh man, there's probably a good joke there that I'm not getting. Is there foxes in Tasmania that I should be knowing about? Yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to figure it out. Oh, I have to say it. I have to say it in a British accent. Alright. I'm thinking about it too much. I don't really want to say it now. I'm worried about what I'm trying to say on my stream here. Almost there is now taken off. Enjoy. Have a good day there. Or evening, or wherever you are. Just think it, don't say it. Alright, well then I got it. If that's what if that's where we're going down, I got the joke. Okay, so let's see if I can get this texture working. We got oh shoot. Yeah, okay, that's alright. Material fox. There's another material fox. Material fur. There's another material. Hey, look at that, it works. Sweet. That worked out way better than I expected. Well wait, I shouldn't say that too soon. Let's see what the animation looks like. See if my... Oh yeah, no. See, this is maybe a good excuse to do live link, so I can find out how lousy my textures are, and how they all get hidden when you got the actual fur meshes working here. All right, cool. That wasn't too bad. Let's see what he looks like in the window. Oh, he looks a little creepy in the window. Yep, a little creepy. He's got a little bit of like grungy dirtiness to him. Probably because of the window. Let me turn off my camera here so I can fly around a bit. Let's see what he looks like out here. Yeah, he's way more crisp and colorful over here. Oh, we got another follow from Jarednet. Sorry if I'm not saying that right. I can't quite read it from here. Anyway, so we got a fox. He's moving around. He needs a lot of polish, but that's okay. I'll see if I can get some more polish in there after the stream's over. We're at 8:22. I still want to do Christmas lights, integrate some VFX into our scene here, into our thing. Could he slide? Oh, Sarah says, could he slide to the other side of the window so you could see more of him? Let's go take a look at our camera again. Oh, so the problem I was thinking, and the reason why I picked this side is, let me just do this thing, because I am standing in the way of the other side of the window at all times, so he can pop in over here a lot easier, and then you can just see him in the corner there. That was the idea. He just sneaks in. All right, so I think we're good here. I don't want to do any renders yet because we want to spend some more time adding some Christmas lights, which might be a disaster, by the way, so heads up on that one. I have never used splines before in Unreal, but I do want to try it out. So we're going to turn off our sequencer here and just fly around a bit. Should probably save everything because that's always a good idea. Save my map. Save all my content. I'm going to go back over to, oh, I should save my Maya file. Oh, save my rig file? Well, I didn't really do anything to this one. I don't need to save that one necessarily. Save this one. Then I go to my Perforce. Go to my pending. Right click and go submit. Adding Fox to window. And I'll just submit everything to my server computer, which is right next to me. So it still takes forever on a... It doesn't take that long. Hey, Sarah thinks the fox is cute. Yeah, he is pretty cute. Actually, now he got his textures on. He is still a little creepy in the window, but we'll figure it out. It's either the... Obviously, the window's causing some issues as its transparency is trying to look like there's stuff on it, but it is also possible I could, you know, possibly give him some lighting so that his face is a little bit more well lit or well maintained as he looks in, but I don't know, we'll see. He could just be a dirty little fox. It would be good. Feel like, oh, he's from the wild, of course. So here we go. I'm gonna try to do the Christmas lights. We're gonna see. The first thing I don't know how to do is splines. Spline mesh actor. Bringing in our scene. Oh goodness, what have I done? So, there we get 2 points. That's good. So I should be able to move 1 point in one place. I think I'm going to try and keep it on a 2D plane here. And as you pick them, these are the tangent handles. Let you choose which way they go. Should probably move the whole thing to the window. Whoops. Oh, come on. There we go. Cannot tell if I'm in front of the window or behind it. Alright, so, and also you should be able to make more pieces with it. So I think you can just, sorry, I think I just right click on it. This is gonna be such a pain. How am I going to be able to make it so I don't select the other stuff? Whatever, let's try again. Right click. Alright, I'm going to put all this stuff in a folder. Interesting that this map was not really made in a way that keeps it organized. Although this is technically modular meshes, so you could always make this cabin into a mansion if you wanted to with all these modular pieces. I wonder if I can just lock it. Whatever, just turn it off. So also, it's easier to manage where the spline mesh actor is, except for I can't see anything. Oh, there we go. No, I'm still picking snow effects. Let's turn that off. Man, maybe I'm doing this wrong. Sure, you can just right click on the thing. Alright, maybe I'm doing it wrong. What else we got here? If anybody knows how to use splines, feel free to chip in and help me here. And tangent 4, tangent x. Is there a method that I can use that says add more points? Yeah, I'm pretty sure on the splines that you have on the camera rig, you can right click on the curves. But I may try there we go. Or did I? Mesh actor. Ah. Well then. So much for that idea. I think I'm gonna have to go do a Google search. Because I'm a little shocked that I can't just make more pieces here by just right-clicking on them like I usually do. Save me, Google. Oh, here we got somebody saying something. Sarah's like, whoa, random question. Do you think, right click over, last thing she says, right click over the spline and add a new spline point. Yeah, right? That's what I was trying to do. Right click on the spline, add a new spline point, add a new spline point. Why is that not clearly obvious here? Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to ask Google. So anyway, random question. Do you think people would buy Aussie animals with animations in the UE4 marketplace? Yes, but not very many. I think you definitely found a niche market though, in terms of there's not very many options for that type of animal, but I also don't think there's a lot of people asking for that, so you may be small niche market. I am considering selling mine, but with different textures than what I will use in my game. It would help me fund my game. Thoughts? Yes, give it a go. I mean, I don't think it costs anything. I think once you make money, Unreal makes money. That's kind of how the marketplace works. Could be wrong though. I'm pretty sure. I remember like for a long time, everybody's been like, just sell your stuff on the marketplace while it's still growing. Get yourself in there. And so you'd find lots of people trying to sell stuff that wasn't very good. But it's definitely sort of more established now. So you can find lots of good things. Can you add on the details section? Oh, in the details. Yeah, I looked in the details section first. I didn't see anything. I mean, maybe it is here. I didn't pick up on it when I saw it. I'm going to do a Google search here. On UE4, spline, create new, what is it called? Point? I don't know what I'm trying to say here. How do I add a point and control to a spline? Tried control, left click, does not add a point. Perhaps do not switch to game view in your viewport. Oh, am I in game view? I don't think I am. No, doesn't work. Actor is virtually useless. You can only add spline points to a spline component, not a spline mesh component. That being said, if you need more articulation in a particular spline mesh, you can use a spline to lay down a skeleton and then build spline meshes between each pair of spline points. You can do this in the construction script by referencing each point and assigning a location rotation tangents to the spline meshes starting in endpoints. Wow, this is really boring. It's particularly useful for fences, pipes, roads, among other things. So I'm left wondering why this behavior is not built into the spline mesh to begin with. Maybe perhaps a Boolean toggle setting would be handy. I am also using a spline mesh actor. So what was the one that they said that does work? Spline component. So does this have to be a blueprint or something? Am I supposed to make a spline in here? What would that be under? Miscellaneous? Oh boy. Let's make a blueprint. Actor. Inside of here, we add a component. We type in spline. Hey, there's a spline. Utility. We right click on it. Add spline point from here. There we go. Weird. Also, can you put them on Turbo Squid and such? Well, I've never done it personally, so I don't know what Turbo Squid is like for its, like, it's been around forever, so I'm sure that there's 1 of 3 of everything, or more. And I'm not sure what the profit margin is over how much Turbo Squid gets. But like I said before, I mean, what do you got to lose? I mean, unless it's costing you to host it there. Otherwise, it just, to me, it seems like, well, you just go for it. See what happens. I would try the Unreal Marketplace though, because you're definitely going to get a fresh set of eyes where people are going to be like, oh, I need this for, and that's the first place they're probably going to look, because they'll know that it already works in Unreal, it's got the textures right, you got your animation set up, it's an animation skeleton. All these things that usually don't work when you get just a random OBJ file from Turbo Squid. Alright, so we did figure out the problem. It just can't add more than 1 apparently with the spline mesh, so I'm going to delete that one. Now that we have it as a blueprint, you can just put it in the level and work with it. I'm going to call this Christmas lights. I'm calling it Christmas Xmas lights. This is something I got hung up on last stream. I don't know why I'm being so careful about this. I really don't care either way. Xmas lights, spline. Sarah, very true. You can charge more if it's a fully game-ready asset. Yeah, exactly. And there's way less game-ready assets out there, I would think. I know it's hard to find game-ready things. It's much easier to find, like, everything else, basically. Alright, let's put all the environment back on again. Cabin mesh. Snow and sky. We're gonna drag this blueprint into our scene, because I don't want to necessarily put it in a cinematic. Although, might be, well, whatever, doesn't matter. I'll drag this into my scene, then I can position that into the place where I feel like it needs to go. For some reason I'm going to hang it around this lights. I don't even know what I'm really going to get out of this. I guess that's where I'm sort of experimenting. And we're going to try and do this so that... How much time we got? Oh, we still got a fair bit of time. We're good. Every time I compile, I should be able to see my results in the world. Obviously, I could also, you know... never mind. I could just scale it, is what I was going to say, but it's probably better not to scale it. Alright, so we have something working here. Do a bit of a curve here. Add some 2D dimension to this. Let's switch this to world positioning. I'm gonna see if I can get these. I don't want them to go through the curtains, so I'm gonna try and pull that out. Oh, look at that. It actually moves in real time, but if I want to move a spline point, I gotta compile it. Interesting. Okay, let's move on to the next stage, because I don't really know what this is going to look like until I got the lights on it. So it actually works out good that it's in a blueprint, because it was going to go in a blueprint anyways. So kind of makes sense that we're going to be here. And with any kind of spline, you have a start and a finish point, and they're kind of drawn. This is the same with NURBS too. You have when you draw a curve, you have a start point and it goes to the end point. So you can do lots of things with that sort of direction. Whether you've got, I don't know, you can drive cars on it, or you could like, what was the other good use for it? Ah, shoot, I forget. But anyway, you have to be careful that you don't have it facing the wrong direction. So sometimes you have to reverse that curve so it goes the opposite way. But we're going to use that same sort of concept as we try and build our lights, where we just go down the path and build the lights as we go down the path. Or at least that's the theory. We'll see if this actually works. So we grab our spline. There's a note here. I'm stealing this from a YouTube video, by the way. So this is how we're all going to do it. Get spline length. And there's one called spacing, which is a float variable. So we're going to create one called spacing. The YouTube, the guy that's making the YouTube video is called Rat's Game. I don't know if I feel like compelled to give him credit for this. I don't know how exactly that helps anybody, but Rat's Game is the here. I'll just show the video here. Is the guy I'm stealing from. So thank you for that, by the way. If of course it works, otherwise I'll be like, ah, darn, it didn't work. Let's see if I can read what this blurry thing says. Is this the highest resolution we can do? No, it's definitely not. There we go. Now I can read it easily. Let me see if I can jump back to the chat in case I miss anything. So the next thing we're going to do is a division. So I guess we're dividing whole and remainder. Wow. Okay, never used this before, but I guess that makes sure that you always end up with a clean number, I assume. I'm not a math guy, so this is it's easy for me to find things I've never seen before. So we're going to subtract that by 1, and we're going to do a for loop, which is kind of an interesting thing to do in blueprints. It's a little bit more complicated than if you're just scripting it. I think I can just do, no, it says for each loop. He's actually saying just a for loop. We're pulling this from the event begin play so that as soon as it starts, it builds this thing. Oh, is this in the construction script? No, event graph. And for loop. There's a for loop. I don't know what the difference is between a for loop and a for loop for each loop. For each index from start index to stop index inclusive. Alright, doesn't matter. So this is the last index is, oh, I think it's subtracting 1. Well, it usually subtracts 1 because when you're talking about variables, you're like arrays, you're always starting at 0 instead of 1. I assume that's why they're talking about subtracting 1. We have another variable that we're going to call, oh no, it's the same one, it's called spacing. So we'll get that spacing variable and we're going to multiply it by another float. Oh no, we're not multiplying by a float. Multiply it by some. How do we do this? This is an integer, so we want a float times an integer. Oh, there it is, int float. All right. So the index that we end up with through the for loop, maybe that's what the for loop benefit is. What else are we doing here? Multiply, get world location at distance along spline. Holy cow, that's a very specific one. That's going to come from the spline, I bet. We pull from the spline and we do get world location. That's not it. Get world Uh-oh. Here it is. Get location. No, I want get world location. Oh man. This is one of those situations where it might be like, no, sorry, that doesn't exist anymore. So we're going to do get location along distance of spline. I think that's probably going to be fairly relevant. Oh, here we go. We can choose between local and world now. Alright, that's cool. Yeah, they must have changed that. And then we do distance. Yeah, there's, well, we still got 15 minutes. Man, if I can get this done, I'll be impressed, because I really feel like we're a long way from a finished product here. Alright, let's see if we can get to... He's going to explain it a little bit here. And then we're going to do a make transform, which combines a bunch of different values, because you've got to bring in a rotator and a location. So this is going to be our location. And then the rotator is a so that the lights, because he's got little lights that look like, I don't know, twinkle lights, so you can get them to like spawn in different orientations. I'm just gonna have spheres that are glowing, so I don't know if I'm gonna care that much, but I'll put it in anyways because it's kind of cool. Might be useful later on when we swap out the spheres with actual proper meshes. Random float in range is going to give us some random values within a range, and we did a range of 360 degrees. And then we do a random float in range again. I can just copy paste this, so Control C, Control V. And that is probably going to be, oh, I can't really see it, but I'm assuming it's going to be like also 360 degrees. So he's basically doing all three different axes. So I can pull from this rotation here, and I'm going to break it, make rotator. Gives us our three axes, and I can just throw them into here. I don't know why you would necessarily rotate 360 degrees on all axes, because one of them would actually line it up with the string if you pick the wrong one. But apparently he's doing all of them 360, so I don't know. Seems a bit weird. We'll just let that go. And now what are we doing here? Make transform has now been performed. The values here is 0.1. I don't know what that's all about. I feel like he probably did that because the mesh is too big. I'll do it too. And what else do we got here? Okay, he's carefully explaining in the wrong section here. Alright, so the next thing is spawn an actor, which is excellent. That makes a lot of sense. So from the loop, we're going to spawn our next light. Spawn actor from, I don't know, I guess from class. Oh yeah, so none is currently there because I have to figure out what it is going to be, which I haven't actually made one yet. This is the position of where this is going to get spawned. Spawn event colliding. It doesn't even ask me that question. Oh, instigator. Doesn't even matter. All right, they must have changed some stuff there since then. So this is going to, I'm going to come back to figuring out what class that is, but it's going to be pretty easy. I'm just going to convert a, either I can duplicate a sphere static mesh, or I can convert a BSP static mesh, or a BSP to a static mesh, and anyways, doesn't matter. We're going to create a dynamic material instance. I don't know if I can just pull it from here. This is the, now this is going to be the connection to the material. Create dynamic. All right, how am I going to do this here? Pull this here, create promote to variable. This is going to be called our light mesh. And then we're going to go create Dynamic. Oh, shoot. I think there's something else going on here. I'm setting it, but I think I've actually got to get to something else. Like, what the? I think there's an object inside of the mesh that they're creating that is called light, and that's the part that they're trying to change the material to. So I do really have to create my static mesh first. So let's go do that first. We got 10 minutes. This is gonna be crazy. Where are we gonna put it? Log cabin, blueprints. Put it in here, I guess. We're gonna make a. So if there's multiple types of meshes you can work with. There's the basics that are just static meshes, but they exist in the editor, and then there's the BSP brushes, which is dynamic, and I'm gonna make this much smaller. It's actually got an interesting geometric shape, and I can convert this live mesh into a static mesh once I've figured out what I want to do here. I may try scaling it and probably shrinking it way down here. That it's just a little light. Okay, and so that will be mesh, and then could maybe make another cylinder. Getting too fancy here, I think, personally. Too fancy. Put 1 and 1. Oh no, where is it? There it is. Alright, I could manually. There might be a way that I can make it snap to the other place, but I forget what that would be, so. I mean, in theory, if I put grid snapping on, that would probably be a good way to do it. So grid snapping at 1 unit. Oh, maybe that's not enough. 5 units. And then there's our little light bulb mesh. I'm really working to scale here. And then I can move this and drop that down there. Oh, they're not actually gonna fit, are they? Alright, never mind. Let's do it manually. So then I'll pick both meshes and I will convert them to a static mesh. Which, oh, that's why they weren't working, because they're in 2 different places. Alright, thanks for bearing with me on this ridiculous attempt to try and make something. What's the cylinder called? There it is. Alright, in here we have the option to create a static mesh. We're going to go to log cabin. Just going to put it in blueprints. Here's our little static mesh light. Tiny little thing. Ah, see, I was worried it was going to make 1 material slot, and it did. Like, they're not even balanced out. Well, that's too bad. So we're going to put a proper material on there as well, because we need to make that glow. So hopefully we'll be able to at least get to the material part. That would be good. Let me just see if anyone has messaged me. Okay, good. I'm not trying to tell you not to message me. I'm just saying. I'm glad I didn't miss any messages. All right, so here's our material. What we're gonna do is add a node called a hue shift, and it's goes into the emissive, and we're gonna put a texture color in here that has to be anything but black. So we're gonna go for red, so that we have some kind of color. And then we're gonna put a time node into the hue shift percentage, I think. There we go. Now we have ourselves a hue shifting color light thingy. I think the strategy would be to carefully make that happen differently, so it goes through steps and stuff rather than just be constantly doing an amazing color changing thing. But for now I don't have time, so we're just gonna do this. Xmas light is our Xmas light. In this static mesh, I probably also want to make a light asset for it, but because the emissive is not actually going to allow me to make it glow, like in terms of the color is not going to display on the other meshes from emissive like you would in an Arnold render. So we're going to do multiply. This is an unrelated issue. I'm going to multiply it by 100 or something so that we get blasting color here. And now our Xmas light will be like super bright. I don't know if that's maybe going to be ridiculous. Maybe a little ridiculous. But even so, it's still not going to necessarily, it's still not going to cast any light onto objects around it. There is a way that you can get emissive to cast light on objects, but you have to bake the lighting. And obviously you can't have it changing colors all the time. So it's a very much more complicated thing to do. Why does it say bad blueprint there? It's concerning. Oh, especially if I start moving it around. Oh, I bet you that's my blueprint that has the curve on it. Okay, because I haven't finished making it yet. Fair enough, fair enough. Let me just save everything for a second here. We got 3 minutes. I mean, at this point, I feel like we've already covered some pretty good stuff. Hey, Riz is here again. My 3D software won't let me render. Oh, is that in Lightwave? If I remember correctly. And I'm not going to be able to help you because I never have used Lightwave before, so it's unfortunately I'm actually not going to be very useful here. Spawn actor. Oh no, I don't have a static mesh object as an actor. I'm probably gonna have to make this Xmas light into a blueprint. So asset actions, create using, no, that's the material. Static mesh, asset actions, create blueprint using material. So blueprint, Xmas light, and let's see if I can now, under those circumstances, select it in my curve. Oh, now all of a sudden Xmas light shows up as a static mesh. Okay, well, I don't know what that was all about then. So there, now we're spawning a Christmas light, and in here this is totally gonna be a problem. Yes, I have a brain injury. Well, I'm going to take that seriously, and but I'm not sure exactly how that relates to your rendering issue. Rendering injury. It's a different problem. Let's see if I can do anything here. If Xmas light is the light. Okay, so in the video, all we needed to do is assign a create dynamic material, which is always such a pain in the butt to do. And so what we're getting out of this is a static mesh, and there is a way to talk to its texture. So is there a way that we can get to the material? I don't think so. Oh, here it is. Get material from static mesh. And then, oh, here's our static mesh object. Can we go from here and do create dynamic material instance? There we go. That was a tricky one. That one doesn't always go very well. And so what we're trying to do is communicate to the material. And in the material, we are manipulating. The source material is still nothing. Target element index is 1. All right, I don't really know where I'm going with this, but there's a plan where so I'm running out of time, so it's really going to be difficult for me to just sort of throw this together. And there's a few more things I have to do that that happens afterwards. But anyway, to run into where they're going with this, they do actually create. Here's our hue shift. They probably create a parameter that you're calling and you're telling to do dynamically based on the distance that you are on the curve, so that the color works down the curve. And so in this level, oh come on, that was the worst button to hit. So in this level, where's our Christmas lights? There it is. You can see that it changes color based on where it is on the curve, and it spawns the lights on the curve. So lots of cool things here. Here's your video link if you ever happen to want to try and follow this along, finish what I'm trying to do here. But it's the right method to at least get something working. I just needed more time. Spline. Raz asked me if those are NURBS. It's just using a blueprint spline, which is a form of NURBS. Yeah. It's a dynamic curve. Let's see if I can actually show you what it is. So you can just build the spline curve in here. And then it becomes a curve that you can work with. And so we're in the event graph, we're actually talking about how to make it so that we get the spline length and we divide it by a certain amount of chunks and we start spawning lights along the path. We didn't actually get far enough to see that happen, which is too bad because I almost kind of expected it right now to be working. But anyway, that's sort of where we're at. So I'm gonna have to leave it there though, because I've run out of time. And you know, this could go on forever, but we did get our fox in there. He's looking kind of cute, and I'm gonna try and get that in my backdrop so that at least next time I talk to you in the new year, we will have my results of wherever I got to it with. Maybe hopefully I get some time to polish the animation a bit and make it look nice. And yeah, so wish you guys all the best on the holidays. We're taking a 2-week break at the CG Spectrum, so we'll be gone for a couple weeks. But we'll be back again in the new year. Me and the rest of the streamers, as well as everyone else. So yeah, I wish you guys all the best. Happy New Year. Happy holidays. All those great things. And yeah, I'll see you in the new year. Take care, everybody.